Well, it's always the way, isn't it, mate? The initial problems right at the heart of all the demographics are all rooted at the same source.
Yes,
We're all being the proletariat, people per se, are all in a slave like system. We all are, no matter
mhm,
what your demographic. The moment
yeah,
you have to pay bills, the moment you have to comply to this, comply to that. So there's
hmm
no point in me screaming because I'm black and it's happening, because
hmm
Padre who's white next to me be going, well, I've got to pay the same bill as you, dude. So what
exactly.
makes why are you getting the victimhood over this? So there's no point in me then going, well, remember 300 years ago, colonialization? It hurts me more now. That's really, it's a redundant argument. We're done with that. And
Well,
I
you know
want,
what?
yeah,
You
go on,
said something about colonialization. It's imperialism now. That's exactly what it is. And when you think about it, it's these companies, the individuals that have the money to that finance these campaigns and for judges and politicians and things of that nature. Basically, is colonialism and imperialism is the same thing, except for you're doing it to the people in your nation.
Yeah.
And until we look at money as money holds no value. The only reason money holds value is because we we all look at it as money.
we give it value. Yeah.
Exactly. When they took the off the gold standard, then the Federal Reserve pretty much said, "Hey, you know what? Let's take the money and put it in the Federal Reserve." Now, it's symbolism. This symbolizes gold. So once you get used to that, then they take the gold away. Now they control the gold. Pretty much robbed you. That's what they did.
Yeah, certainly. Nat, anything you want to say before I go to Mark's video?
No, all I want to say is I understand. You know what I mean? I understand. Well, I'm going to talk about bit about history itself. Okay, so we know obviously people were displaced through slavery and everything like that. The point what I want to make, you know what I mean, and just obviously taking feedback off of people and everything like that. So in the westernized world itself, do you know what I mean? That we've been given the opportunities. Even if you can track your roots into obviously back into Africa and everything like that, Africa itself is very tribal. So when
Yes.
you talk about your people, black supremacy, do you know what I mean? The
Hmm
truth of the matter is, right, where do you want to go? By all means, you know what, pinpoint somewhere and try it out, and you will understand that there's clans out there, there's
Yep.
tribalism out there. Do you know what I mean? And this is what obviously what Africa's about. You know what I mean? And will they ever kind of resolve their issues? I don't personally think they would, because obviously
No.
they will stick to their tribalism, won't they?
Yeah, I mean it's embedded within man per se, in it. I guess that explains a lot of the fighting that we're going
Yeah.
through. But
Uh,
one basic thing, Nak, how many black people do you know would quite happily vote for Robert Mugabe and have Robert Mugabe rule you as a leader? Would
well,
you?
this is it, ain't it? But I think we're finding when it comes to debate like that, right? So let's obviously talk about kind of. I'm going to bring something up here like jihadis. Yeah, jihadis. No matter what you've put a point across there, right? They won't talk about it. You know what? They'll jump onto something else. They know what the truth is. Do you know what I
hmm
mean? But they won't want to give you an answer. You know what I mean? Because you're right. So they'll jump onto another track without answering that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we know what Mugabe was like and everything like that. Yes, what did he do? And then, after all, he took the riches. What did he do for his people? Do you know what I mean? But then people will kind of expand on it, yeah, and say this is what obviously the elite or the Five Eyes uh, have done within themselves. They're kind of like reality is kind of not there, to be honest with you, yeah.
hmm
And I do think that we in the Western world, what we've got, we make do with, and we know in a way. I feel I'm blessed. Do you know what I mean? I do
Yeah.
class myself as a British Sikh, but I think I'm blessed in a way in the opportunities this country's given me. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
But, you know, I just think that while we're all squabbling in the Western world and saying we haven't been given the opportunities, I know Britain's come a long way. Yeah.
Mm.
I believe the threat will be coming through the back door, yeah, it's got nothing to do with the Western world. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's probably got something to do with communist China or something like that. And by
Hmm.
that time, by the time people realize what's truly going to happen, it's going to be too late. It's a bit like, the Germans and Nazis. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? They
yeah,
obviously
Well,
made a
China right
weapon.
now
Yeah, yeah,
search for renewable hydropower, and they're got putting countries in debt. And they 75. I mean, excuse me, 75% of Australia's economy is through China.
yeah,
And and I'm telling you, they pretty much in certain individuals into certain places, and most of the Chinese students or go to school in Australia.
yeah.
So
Hey,
if
you're
you
right.
really look,
I mean,
at the, yeah.
China is very much an expansionist country, Mark, but they
Hmm.
do it very covertly. They do it by the way of business. And
Yes.
like you've just mentioned there, they've got a very good stronghold in Australia. You
Hmm.
find anywhere where the minerals, like Africa and like other Eastern European countries, where certain
Hmm.
minerals are commodities, you'll find that their interest in that is probably overriding more than any other country as well. So
Hmm.
in the background, they have got so much influence and control over the vast globe in various
Yes.
different ways. So I totally
Yes.
back up your point there.
The ports, they own a port in every major country.
yeah,
They dammed off their internal rivers, and now they're trying to control the Tibetan Plateau.
yeah,
Once that happens, China is really really on the move,
Mm.
yeah,
and individuals too blind to see it. They
yeah.
we rather fight against each other than to
Correct.
see what how they're trying, and AI. Oh man.
That's
And
what it's going.
I don't know if you guys know their wallets, their digital currency by Tencent and Alibaba. They- they're on the move. They're trying to gain votes as far as the UN. They want the power within the UN, so they can pretty much do whatever they want to do.
No, I agree. I mean, we'll move on to this video, but this video
Okay.
has a mysterious link towards what we're talking about anyway, because this is where I feel that, like the average black person, for me, particularly in this country, if they're following this movement, BLM, there's an element of political illiteracy with the individual itself, because they're thinking that they're following this organization for the right and most wholesome of reasons. But what they don't realize is fundamentally running through this organization, there's an element of fascism, there's an element of literally far left tendencies. There's an element that wants to break down the family. There's an element that wants to reintroduce socialism, defund the police. This, for me, this organization is almost about breaking the West as it is because of its capitalist values. Now, in a way, that really plays into the hands of China. What do you think of that, guys? Start with you, Nat.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And this is what it is. But you know what? We see the picture, don't we? We see this picture. But when obviously we're trying to make that point, the majority don't see it. Do you know what I mean? And this is what kind of is quite disappointing for myself. And I'm just glad that Mark's on here at this moment in time across the water, and he's telling us, and obviously he'll tell us a bit more about everything what's going on. Do you know what I mean? But I can't understand that when you're kind of making debate, people are just kind of shoving it aside because of what I suppose it's what media is portraying, isn't it? Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? Media is got a lot of fault with what's happening. Do you know what I mean? Because they only want to perceive one picture, and it's brainwashing kind of all the kids into it that this is constantly happening in America. Do you know what I mean? The injustices with the police, etc.
Well, what I'd like you to do before to play this video, I'd like you to explain your thought processes behind this video, and then we'll just run with it, and then I'll go back to Nat so he can explain what he feels about this video.
The thought process behind this video was, uh, the feeling behind it. Number one was hurt, was pain, uh, and 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 like I say, and after that, um, it just emotion to just the will to want to get everyone to unite and live peacefully for the sake of their kids and grandkids and great grandkids, you know. So yeah, I'm leaving it with you.
Retired ICE Acting Director Ronald Vitello. It's great to have you back on, sir. They put out on the internet the personal home addresses and phone numbers of 38 police officers in Portland, also officers in Kentucky, Washington, D.C., Georgia, New York, Massachusetts. And they're telling extremists to go to these homes to put and that could put their families at risk. What's your reaction?
Yeah,
when you
this
heard
is
that story?
terrible. This shouldn't happen in modern day America.
It's time for us to see Black Lives Matter for what it is, a terrorist organization. The media, it's time for y'all to say it out loud on live. Because I'm going to tell you something. They don't want justice. The people out here marching, they don't want justice. They don't want peace. They want people demoted, fired. They out here looting, stealing, killing kids. Now they want to put police officers' addresses up and targeting them. You want to kill cops. You don't want peace. You want chaos.
Brilliant. Very concise, mate. Very concise. Well done. Well done for that. I mean, what I would say looking at that is how divisive it all is. Because you do know when this, for me, seems like a far left agenda anyway. It doesn't seem like a group of black people going out doxing this. This seems like pure communistic behavior. It's a trait of communists and these far left geezers to start doxing people and creating all this. But ultimately, this is only going to feed oxygen to what is regarded as the far right, surely. So then it's literally keeping this tit for tat. It's never going to get argued, never going to get solved. It's only going to create more and more division, more animosity towards the different races. I mean, what's your opinion on that video, what Mark done there, Nak?
I'm a bit kind of flabbergasted, to be honest with you. I mean, putting out obviously addresses of police officers, do you know what I mean? I mean, this is it, ain't it? Do people obviously realise the reality of, I'm going to say it again, which Black Lives Matter? I'm still confused. Do you know what I mean? In what obviously West Indian population in the UK, what they're perceiving to me. Do you know what I mean? That I've got it all wrong when I'm perceiving that there's obviously an extreme terrorist element in there. Do you know what I mean? And they're saying, no, you've got it wrong. It's about just injustices and everything like that. But America itself, look, I'm not going to keep slating basically America, but what I'm saying is the UK within itself has kind of moved on a long way itself. Do you know what I mean? And I know the police forces within themselves have different restraining orders, control and restrain. It's all different in different states and everything like that. Some states have moved forward, some states haven't moved forward, etc., and so on. And you know, obviously, there is obviously some states that need to obviously change. Regarding after what happened to George Floyd, I mean, the black community, look how they wrecked their own communities. I mean, what I've seen, there was nothing left of them. You know what I mean? We've got to face up to the fact. People are gone. When it all first started, even some of the civil service guys within this own country, within Britain itself, were going down on one knee. Yeah, not realizing what was it about. Have you done your own work? Have you looked into the deeper picture?
Anyone who watches football in this country now will see that they've done nothing. And I'm talking soccer here, Mark.
Yeah.
What they've done after the lockdown, we've had to introduce soccer, but behind closed doors. Okay. Now, what's happened with that? Instead of them having the name on, going over, they've done Black Lives Matter. Okay.
Wow, they're doing it over there too?
Yeah, they've got Black Lives Matter sticker on there. I mean, these are normally only afforded to sponsors that are paying big dollar for this amount of spacage. So no player was awarded their name on any of the shirts for the first few games. It was just Black Lives Matter. Then it started with before each kickoff, every player round the semicircle went on one knee. Some of them were raising their hands. All of them, whether they were black or white. Now, same again, this backs up what Nak is saying, that politically they don't know how detrimental this organization is, but they're still there pumping it out. Or let me put it another way. they must perfectly know how detrimental this organization is, but they're not prepared to really own that. They still want to push the bigger agenda itself. Now, that for me is detrimental to a society when you can blatantly see the effects of this. One thing I will go to in a second, mate. We've had a block party and we've had a series of riots because of this, but I'll just put this headline up. I don't know whether you remember or have heard of this story, Mark, but this come up shortly after the lockdown was introduced. Same again, it was a narrative that was pushed as if to say, if you're of colour in this country, no matter what goes on in this country, being of colour is more detrimental. So that was the narrative behind this. So what they tried to do is put the report out as if to say, Black people are getting disproportionately affected by corona more than anyone, okay? This, in the beginning, before this story come out, there was a lot of people, Black people, that were coming up to me with almost somewhat of an arrogant attitude, Mark, because at that point, it wasn't understood to them that this was being affected by the Black population. So this headline brought them all back and go, oh, it's hitting us, it's hitting us. And then this was the first round of going, well, we're getting it worse than you, this, that, and the other. Now, I'm going to carry on with this thought process because this got really strange. You'll see this is dated on the 13th of the 6th, okay? So this is just some of the scenes. I mean, look at the amount of people there, guys. You know, food being distributed. Now, fine, I'm all up for a party, but this is within 3 weeks of being told that as Black people, you're getting COVID more. So that narrative was to make Black people feel a little bit more outraged about the current crisis. But yet, this block party ensues. And now the worst part about it, Mark, this block party then ended up in a riot where the police were chased. The police had all their vehicles smashed. It was crazy, absolutely crazy what was going on. I mean, look at this.
Wow.
I mean, it's literally no holds barred there, you know? Just do what you want. Literally do what you want. But yet, if we're in any other march, Mark, to redress any other situation, you get police in riot gear, you'll get police that will close you down. What had happened with the Brixton riot on this, they came in what is regarded as soft uniform. Because of the PC culture, they didn't want to be deemed to be racist. So they went into the Black community to try and tell them to calm the hell down, no need for block parties. And because there was an empowerment of a more militant Black individual there, rather than a common sense, rational, law-abiding Black citizen, it ended up with a revolt. It ended up with the police having to leave the area, but each vehicle got absolutely trashed on the way out. It was disgraceful, mate. And this is all coming from an argument that's come from America. You know, they're talking about defunding our police. So I'm sorry, I've done my little bit of ranting there, but if any of you guys,
go ahead.
What's your initial thoughts on that, Mark?
You know, when it comes down to defunding the police, these individuals risk their life. I don't think, you know, I'm gonna say Americans know what it's like to walk up to a car and not know what's going to happen. And these is because one person do something, it's stereotyping. All cops are bad. So it went from cops kill Black people to I'm gonna associate cops with white people. So now I'm mad at white people and cops. You know, when really, if you truly want to make a change, the cops just enforce the law. They don't make the law. So if you want to make a change, then go to the lawmakers that you elect and put in office and talk to them. You know, don't you go you know, trying to target officers. They're just the scapegoat. And until we, you know, stop pushing back at each other, and that's what I want to do, trying to do right now. It's the individuals that want to live together, united, not look at the individuals that's brainwashed and charging on them. Say, hey, you know what? Let's not pay them no attention. Let the people that want to live together, united, come together, and you know, that way it's not causing that push pull out here. But as long as, you know, we focus on, you know, how they react to us, and I'm gonna say us because I do mean white, black, all that. And to tell you the truth, when it comes down to race, you know, a lot of people don't recognize, and other countries don't recognize black and white. They see it's American. So we're fighting over something that really don't exist because it was given to us. You- and we're human beings at the end of the day. And until we see each other as human beings, and I don't understand how people can want families being hurt and things of that nature. You know, people got kids. I seen kids out at these protests. You know, are you serious? And that's I, I'm lost for words now. You know.